There is a specific kind of dread that comes with a warning light you cannot explain. Not a flat tire, not a dead battery, something you can diagnose in your driveway. This is worse. This is the engine itself, the single most expensive component under the hood, quietly failing from the inside, sometimes with zero warning at all. And in 2026, that dread has a name attached to it, because 7 engines currently on sale or recently sold in America are documented, on the record, with federal safety regulators, as having a real chance of doing exactly that. Not urban legend, not one angry owner on a forum. Federal recall filings, class action settlements, and in one case, an active investigation into a fix that did not actually fix anything. More than 300 vehicle safety recalls have already been logged with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration this year alone, and the pace has shown no sign of slowing. Most of those recalls are minor: a mislabeled tire, a software update, a bolt that needs an extra quarter turn. The 7 engines on this list are not that. These are catastrophic failure modes, the kind that can strand you on the highway or, in the worst documented cases, start a fire. And they are not confined to one brand or one price point. By the time we get to the last one, you are going to understand why some of the most trusted names in America have an asterisk next to them right now. Let's start with something you might actually be cross-shopping this year. Both built around GM's 2.7-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, sold under the TurboMax name in its higher output form. On the spec sheet, this engine looks like a genius move. A small Turbo 4 doing a V6 job with better fuel economy. And, in the TurboMax tune, more torque than some V8s. In practice, GM issued a recall after finding a manufacturing flaw in the casting process that can cause cracks to form in the engine block's main oil gallery, the central channel that feeds oil to every moving part inside. When that gallery cracks, you get oil leaks. And oil leaks in an engine block are not a top-off-and-forget problem. They are a full engine replacement problem. GM's fix is exactly that, a complete engine swap at no cost, which tells you how seriously they are treating it internally, even while keeping the public messaging quiet. Layer on a separate fuel injector recall on the same engine family for inconsistent fuel delivery, one that risks excess emissions and rough running on top of the block issue. And you have a young engine platform that is still working out fundamental problems in real driveways, not just on a test bench. The BMW 4-cylinder engines equipped with a specific starter motor design. BMW has recalled the starter across 6 separate filings in under a year, now covering more than 318,000 vehicles in the United States alone. The issue sounds small until you hear BMW's own language to federal regulators. An internal component inside the starter can wear down over repeated start cycles, and metallic debris can build up inside it. The mild version of this failure is simply a car that will not start, an inconvenience. The severe version, again in BMW's own words, is what they call a thermal event, which is the industry's careful way of saying fire. 6 recall filings on the same component in less than 12 months is not a company that solved the problem the first time, or the second, or apparently the 5th. Found in the Ram 1500, the Jeep Wagoneer, and the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. This engine was supposed to be the graceful exit from the aging V8 era. More power, better efficiency, modern engineering. Instead, real owners are reporting thermostat failures that cause overheating at shockingly low mileage. One documented case involves a brand new Ram Bighorn overheating at just 800 miles before the truck had even seen its first scheduled oil change. Misfire codes and oil level warning lights round out the complaint list. And while Stellantis has responded with software updates and service bulletins rather than a sweeping recall so far, the pattern of a complex new engine struggling with basic cooling in its first year on the road should sound familiar by the time we finish this list. And this one has a manufacturing defect with a name specific enough that it tells you exactly how it happens. A valve train part called the camshaft roller finger follower can become dislodged from the valve stem during engine assembly, and when it does, the engine can fail outright, cutting drive power while you are on the road. Ford traced this back to its own Cleveland engine plant, where a routine production audit turned up an engine with the part already knocked loose. The warning signs owners should watch for are a ticking or tapping noise and a low-volume engine leak while running. Subtle symptoms for a defect that can end in a total loss of power. And here is the detail that should frustrate any current owner watching this. Ford mailed the warning letters back in June, but the actual repair parts were not expected until late November. That is months of driving a vehicle with a documented engine failure risk before the fix even exists. Here is the one that should genuinely unsettle you, because it breaks the pattern this entire list has been building. Badge engineered as the flagship replacement for Toyota's legendary virtually indestructible V8. Toyota is the brand people buy specifically to opt out of engine anxiety, the one name on every reliability chart that buyers treat as a safe harbor, no matter what else is happening in the industry. And yet the V35A has now been through 3 separate recall campaigns for the same root cause: manufacturing debris, sometimes called swarf, left inside the engine during assembly at Toyota's own plants in Alabama and Japan, that circulates through the oil system and destroys the #1 main bearing. The most recent expansion, filed in May of 2026, covers another 44,000 trucks on top of the roughly 102,000 already recalled from the original campaign. Real owners have documented total engine failure as low as 44,000 miles, with a dashboard warning that reads, in the driver's own words, engine shutdown, pullover. A dealer inspection in that case confirmed both debris and bearing failure, and Toyota replaced the entire engine. Some 2026 buyers, spooked by the pattern, are now changing their own oil at 500 miles, well before Toyota's own recommended break-in interval, just to try to flush out any debris the factory may have left behind. And shops are reportedly charging over $200 for the privilege. When the brand famous for bulletproof reliability has owners performing DIY damage control on a brand new $60,000 truck, that is not a footnote. That is the whole story of this list in miniature. The engine under the hood of the Chevrolet Silverado 1500, the GMC Yukon, and the Cadillac Escalade. The original recall covered nearly 600,000 trucks and SUVs for a supplier defect in the connecting rods and crankshaft that could cause sudden catastrophic engine seizure. GM's remedy was a 2-part process: inspect the engine and, depending on what the dealer finds, either clear it or replace it. That should have been the end of the story. Instead, federal regulators have now opened a formal investigation into 36 separate complaints where the engine failed again after receiving that exact dealer-performed fix. Real owner accounts describe a 26 model Denali Ultimate seizing at just 1,600 miles, with the owner writing plainly that they had already gone through a prior model year with the same engine, hoping the newer one had solved it, and finding it had not. When the government has to investigate whether your repair actually repairs anything, you have moved past a bad part and into a genuine crisis of confidence. Step back and look at what actually connects these 7, because the through line matters more than any single engine. 4 of the 7 trace back to the exact same root cause: manufacturing debris left inside the engine during assembly, whether that is Toyota's bearing contamination, Hyundai and Kia's oil passage blockage, GM's connecting rod damage, or Chevy's cracked casting. This is not 7 unrelated bad luck stories. It is a manufacturing quality problem repeating itself across nearly every major automaker at once, right as engines get smaller, more turbocharged, and more tightly toleranced in the name of fuel economy. Tighter tolerances mean zero room for the kind of debris that older, looser engines would have simply tolerated. If you are shopping right now, the move is simple and takes 5 minutes. Before you sign anything, run the exact VIN through NHTSA's recall lookup tool. Not just the model name, because recall coverage depends on the specific production window and engine code. If the truck or SUV you are looking at uses a new or recently redesigned engine platform, ask the dealer directly whether that engine has an open recall or an active federal investigation, and get the answer in writing. Sometimes the badge on the hood tells you nothing anymore. The engine code does. If this breakdown kept you from an expensive mistake, hit that like button so more buyers see it before they sign, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because next, we're covering the engines that have gone the distance with 0 major failures, and drop a comment with whatever you're currently driving or shopping for, because there is a very good chance this list has something to say about it.